Greetings, teammates. Chris Anderson here with a special ministry update for FCA Endurance. You know, for the past 12 years, I have been blessed to help launch and grow FCA Endurance. It has been amazing to see and to partner with God as He's taken a ministry vision and grown it into the ministry that we have today. Well, I have loved being on this adventure. I'm reaching out today to share some exciting news. God has given me a new ministry calling. And as my beloved teammates, I wanted to share just a little bit about how this came to be and what's next. For the past few years, I've scheduled an annual solitude retreat. This is an opportunity for me to get away from the world for a few days, to get away from the worldly noise, to get away from people and media and technology, with the hopes of spending some prolonged, intimate time with the Lord, seeking Him and His will. And incidentally, if you've never done this, I can't encourage it enough. It's a powerful time. Well, as I went into my 2016 solitude retreat this past November, I had a few questions, a few things I was seeking clarity on from the Lord. You see, over the past year or two, I had very intermittent, very random moments where I feel like God was trying to get my attention. The best way I could describe this is at kind of a heart level, a gut level, a soul level. I felt like my personal life and my ministry life, they didn't have complete alignment like I really wanted them to. And so again, it wasn't concerning, it wasn't alarming, but it got my attention. And it's something that a mentor of mine said has happened to him from time to time in his ministry career when God was pulling up roots, preparing him to transition. And so when these moments would happen in my own life, I'd spend some time in prayer, and in those times, God would either affirm my current calling to FCA Endurance, or He would remain silent, in which case you keep doing the last thing that God told you to do. And so I was serving with great faithfulness and great joy, and it was wonderful. It was blessed. But yet I had these moments. And so as I went into my solitude retreat, I just was seeking clarity. God, what is this all about? Are you trying to get my attention? Is there something new for me? And I came out the backside of that retreat, and I felt like it was clear. My time with FCA Endurance was coming to a close. Now, as I left, I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what was next. I didn't even know when. But I felt like it was coming, and so I did the things I knew I could do. Finish strong with FCA Endurance and seek the Lord, believing that He would make it clear when I was supposed to make a change. And so I'm praying with my wife and a few men, just looking to see where God might move. Well, eventually it became time to take a step of faith. And so I called my supervisor, and I basically told him the same thing I just told you. Hey, Jeff, I don't know what this looks like. I don't know when it's happening, but I feel like God's calling me from FCA Endurance, and so we should probably start preparing for that. And he asked a great question, a question that I had asked as well. Chris, are you being called away from FCA Endurance, or are you being called away from FCA? Well, I had confidence about the FCA Endurance part, but I wasn't sure about the FCA piece. You see, I love FCA. God used this ministry to impact my own life, to call me as a disciple. And God is doing amazing things through FCA around the world. And I love being a part of this team. And yet, as I looked around, I didn't see a good fit for me. And even a few positions that might have been a good fit, I just didn't feel called towards. And so, while it wasn't my preference, I had assumed God was probably calling me away from FCA. And I believed that whatever was next was going to be even better because God was doing it. So I answered Jeff, and he said, well, I'll tell you what, Chris, FCA just created a brand new position, and I think you might be pretty good at it. Why don't you take the job description and just pray about it a little bit? And so he sent me the job description, and it was even still being tweaked into its final form. And I was intrigued, certainly about the position itself, but maybe even more so about how God might be moving in this, because God doesn't always move this way, but it's pretty amazing when you take a step of faith and then God opens a door that you didn't even know existed. And so there's this job description. I'm praying about it with my wife, my supervisor, a few godly men, and I had a chance to even go down and meet the developer, the leader of this new program with FCA, and I spent probably 90 minutes sharing about my heart, what God was doing in my own life, and about the heart of the position. And when I left that meeting, I had great confidence that, you know what, this was my next calling. So I prayed for the next day, went home, and the calling was affirmed by my wife, my supervisor, and godly counsel. And so, starting in February, I began my new role as the Northland Director of Talent Advancement. Now, I've got to tell you, I'm still getting used to that title. Transparently, it feels a little more corporate than I'm comfortable with. However, I love the heart behind this new role. In summary, I'm blessed with the role to go out and help grow the FCA staff team in the states of South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. I can help grow them in number by helping with recruiting, helping staff candidates discern their calling, helping with the onboarding and the hiring process. In addition, it's something that I'm more passionate about. I get to help equip staff to fulfill their ministry calling. I can help equip them as disciples and disciple makers, to help grow their leadership and their ministry capacity, especially over their first 2 years, which are such a critical time to start your ministry off in a successful way and to position them to fulfill their ministry calling over the long haul. It's something I'm excited about, something I'm definitely humbled by, but it's a really important role. Because if we can grow the FCA staff team, more coaches, more athletes, more families, more campuses, more communities are going to be impacted for Jesus Christ. It's amazing to be a part of that. Well, as God has pulled me out of FCA Endurance, that left a great question. Well, what's next for FCA Endurance? And one of my priorities over the past few months has been finishing strong with FCA Endurance, positioning the ministry for impact into the future. And I'm going to create a separate video that's going to highlight what is it going to look like in the future. In closing, I want to share 3 things. The first one is, I want to say thank you. So many people have partnered in this amazing adventure, investing their time, their talent, their treasure. They have been faithful to what God has called them to. And I say thank you. You know, one of the biggest blessings in my life is the relationships that have formed while I've served with FCA Endurance. And so, again, I say thank you. Secondly, I just wanted to share that I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to continue to be on the FCA staff team. I'm continue to race in yellow as a teammate of FCA Endurance. I'm going to continue to serve as a volunteer huddle leader with the FCA Endurance Huddle here in Sioux Falls. This is not a goodbye. It's simply a change in where I'm going to be spending the focus of my time as a staff person. Lastly, I just want to remind everybody of something you've heard me say for years. Win at what matters most. God has given us a mission to make disciples, to make them in your homes, in your neighborhoods, where you work. And for those that are called to endurance sports, absolutely in the endurance sports community. Don't let that get shortchanged by chasing some kind of worldly goal or earthly treasure. Seek the Lord with all of your heart. Focus on things of eternity. If you can do that, you'll be well on your way to winning at what matters most. God bless you as you go do that.
All the Christian soldiers marching as you were.